In 1932, a wealthy nation sent its army, real soldiers, real machine guns, 10,000 rounds of ammunition, off to war. Not against another army, against birds. Big, flightless, confused birds. And friend, the birds won. Pull up a chair. Let's set the record straight. Now, to understand how grown men ended up losing to poultry, you got to back up a few years. After the First World War, Australia had itself a whole lot of soldiers come home, and not a whole lot for 'em to do. So the government had an idea. Give 'em land. Out west, a place called the Wheat Belt. Told 'em, go on, be farmers, grow wheat, you'll do fine. Trouble is, the land they handed these fellas was hard, dry country, the kind of dirt that grows more disappointment than wheat. And then the Depression come along, and the price of wheat fell clean through the floor. So now you got broke veterans on bad land growing a crop nobody's paying for. And that's before the birds show up. Because in the spring of '32, here come the emus. Now, an emu, for them of you that have never had the pleasure, a bird stands near 6 foot tall, can't fly a lick, but can run 30 miles an hour and kick like a mule. And they don't come in tens, don't come in hundreds, 20,000 of them. Marching inland hunting water, and they find these nice cleared fields full of crops with dams full of water. And near as I can figure, they thought they'd died and gone to emu heaven. They trample the wheat, they bust through the fences, and them busted fences let the rabbits in behind 'em, which is a whole second disaster riding in on the back of the first. So these farmers, these veterans, they do what veterans do. They figure, this here's a job for the Army. So they take it to the Minister of Defense, fellow by the name of Sir George Pierce. And the farmers say, send us soldiers, send us machine guns. We have got ourselves a bird problem. And here's the detail that tells you everything you need to know about the year 1932. Pierce says yes. He figures the boys could use the target practice. The farmers will be happy, and the newsreel cameras will eat it up. The Army riding to the rescue. So he sends a major, name of Meredith, 2 soldiers under him, 2 Lewis guns, that's a light machine gun, and 10,000 rounds of ammunition. 10,000 rounds for birds. What could go wrong? Now, I had a cousin once thought he'd solve a gopher problem with a garden hose and a car battery. I'll spare you the particulars except to say the gopher's fine and my cousin don't go near the garden no more. Point being, there is a long and proud history of men bringing far too much firepower to a small problem and finding out the problem don't much care. And the emus, friend, the emus did not care. First time the soldiers line up to shoot, the birds do something nobody put in the plan. They scatter, don't bunch up nice like a proper target. They split into little bands and run every which way. Turns out a mob of emus has got tucked away in it something you might near call a strategy. The fellas that were out there swore the big males would stand up tall like lookouts, and the second the shooting started, they'd sound off, and the whole mob would break and run. Now, here's where folks get it twisted. People love to tell it that the Army never killed a single emu, clean shutout. That ain't quite the truth. They killed some. The trouble wasn't that they couldn't hit any. It's that they'd burn through a whole belt of ammunition to drop a handful, and the rest would just leave. An emu can take a bullet and keep on running like you never said a word to it. The major himself reckoned you'd need the bullets of a machine gun and the armor of a tank, 'cause that's about what it'd take to bring one down. And then they had their big idea. If the birds won't hold still, chase 'em. So they bolt one of them Lewis guns onto the back of a truck and go tearing off across the paddock after the flock. 2 problems. 1, an emu can flat outrun a 1932 truck over rough ground, which is a humbling thing for a truck. 2, you cannot aim a machine gun off the back of a truck that is bucking across open country. The poor fellow on the gun is just holding on for dear life. At one point, a bird they'd hit got tangled up in the steering and near wrecked the whole rig. The emus, near as anyone could tell, were having themselves a wonderful time. Word gets back to the city, and the papers have a field day. The Emu War. The whole business gets laughed at on the floor of Parliament. One fella stands up and asks should the soldiers be getting medals, and another fella says if anybody in this war has earned a medal, it's the emus. After about a week, ammunition mostly spent and not a great deal to show for it, they pull the army out, withdrawn from the birds. Now, they did go back. Sent Meredith out again a few weeks on, and the second round went a sight better. Over the next month, they finally culled a fair number of birds. But the point was already made, and the whole country had already seen it. You spent the army, the guns, and a small fortune in bullets, and the emus were still out there, still eating, still winning on points. Now, it's an easy story to laugh at. Army loses to birds. And it is funny. But sit with it a second. Because the emus were never really the story. The story is a bunch of men who went and fought a real war, the worst one anybody'd seen up to then, and come home and got handed a patch of dirt and a promise. You'll do fine. And the dirt was bad, and the prices crashed, and the promise didn't hold. And when they finally put their hands up and hollered for help, what got sent to 'em was 2 fellas and a machine gun. The Emu War wasn't really men against birds. It was men who'd been let down by the folks that put 'em out there, hollering into the wind and getting a gesture back when what they needed was a hand. The birds were just the part you could shoot at. And that's usually how it goes, ain't it? We aim at the thing right in front of us, 'cause it's a good sight easier than fixing the thing standing behind it. And that's how it really went. Good neighbors come back. So go on and subscribe, and I'll save you a chair.